Coming up on UCF Nightly News, find out about a new method of transportation coming to campus.
And I'll tell you everything you need to know about DACA and the Supreme Court hearings.
Also, the Board of Trustees met for the last time this semester. We'll tell you what you need to know.
And in sports, the men's soccer team will play for the championship crown tomorrow against SMU.
Nightly News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Chris Wolf.
And I'm Anita Bailey. Today's Friday, November 15th, 2019. UCF Staff Chief Grant Hansen will step down from his position starting December 1st. An email throughout the President's Division states his resignation is due to the official start of the new presidential search. Henston expressed that his decision to resign was a personal one. In the email, Henston said, and I quote, "When Thad began as interim president, I told him my goal as chief of staff was to help get UCF in best possible shape for the new president, but that I did not want to continue this job under the new president. Heston will still help in the position as vice president of communications and marketing."
A student being accused of opening fire Thursday morning at Saugus High School in Santa Clarita, South California, killed 2 students and wounding 3 others. Police have searched the Santa Clarita home of the alleged shooter.
They're also searching his social media, hoping to learn why he opened fire. Officials say 3 off-duty officers had dropped off relatives at the school, responding within seconds of the shooting. Thousands of students evacuated, marching out of the school. Many were eventually reunited with family members.
The Connecticut Supreme Court denied Remington Arms Co., the manufacturer of the AR-15 used in the Sandy Hook school shooting, a request to avoid trial for the shooting at the Sandy Hook Elementary School. The court ruling cleared the way for the families of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting to sue Remington Arms Co. The lawsuit filed in 2015 was dismissed in 2016 by a lower court, ruling that the gun makers have broad immunity from their liability under the federal law known as the Protection of Lawful Commitments and Arms Act. The case moved up to the state's Supreme Court and will now proceed to trial in Connecticut.
If this goes through and the Remington is successfully sued, people might see this as an attack on the right to bear arms, but it's not that. It's just more. This is more so an action for safety to keep people accountable.
The families released a statement saying that they are grateful that our state's Supreme Court has rejected the gun law industry's bid for complete immunity. There is no set date for when the trial will take place.
We have a health alert update related to lung illness outbreak. As of November 13th, 2019, the Center of Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, reports over 2,000 cases of e-cigarettes or vaping products associated with the outbreak from 49 states. The CDC identifies vitamin E acetate as the chemical concern associated with the lung injury named Evelyn. Based on laboratory findings, the vitamin E acetate might be used as a thickening agent for THC. The CDC recommends people to not use e-cigarettes and vaping products containing THC and to not add any substances manipulating the product. To find out more information, visit cdc.gov.
Most students experience stress at some point in their college years.
With finals coming up, many feel under pressure. UCF students are gearing up for the end of the semester. So some are preparing for finals, and it might be hard, but others, stress is a lot to handle. UCF CAPS reminds students that no exam is worth your mental health. UCF student Connor Dowd explains how he deals with stress.
I'd take 10-15 minutes to listen to some music and really just try to zone out. I do yoga a lot too, so that helps a lot. Just really getting in touch with yourself, finding peace in your day.
Dowd says he notices that everyone handles stress different. This could mean talking to friends or even listening to music or just getting some fresh air. CAPS offers events all month long during this month to help students with what they may be feeling.
This week, the Supreme Court heard arguments on deferred action for childhood arrivals.
That's right, and Nightly News reporter Paola Guzman tells us what we need to know. Paola?
Thank you, Chris and Manita. A lot is happening this week with DACA. Throughout this week, there have been protests around the country for DACA. The reason? The Supreme Court is hearing arguments on DACA this week. Their decision will impact the fate of the DACA program and the estimated 670,000 so-called dreamers in the United States. The hearings take place after the President Trump re-signed the program in 2017. The results of the hearings are expected for early 2020. Now that you're caught up on what happened this week, here's what you need to know about what happened leading up to these events. In June of 2012, former President Barack Obama issued an executive order called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, known as DACA. The order was to give a sort of a legal status to those who arrived to the U.S. illegally as children or lost legal documentation. According to United States Citizen and Immigration Services, in order to receive DACA, an applicant must have been under 31 years old as of June 15, 2012, have come to the U.S. under the age of 16, have lived in the U.S. from June 15, 2007 to present, currently in school, graduated from high school, have a GED, or be honorably discharged from the Coast Guard or Armed Forces, have not been convicted of a felony offense, significant misdemeanor, or more than 3-count misdemeanors of any kind, not pose a threat to national security or public safety. Once granted DACA, recipients receive a Social Security number and a United States work authorization renewable every 2 years. Recipients were also allowed to travel abroad for educational work or emergency situations. Fast forward to September 2017, the Trump administration announced their plan to rescind DACA, calling the executive order an open-ended circumvention of immigration laws and unconstitutional exercise of authority by the executive branch. Current DACA recipients were no longer allowed to renew after March of the following year, and no new applicants were allowed after the announcement. In January 2018, UCF District Judge William Alsop of San Francisco issued an order blocking their repeal based on 3 lawsuits against their repeal. New York and Washington, D.C. judges handed down similar orders. Since then, current DACA recipients were allowed to renew, but no new applicants were allowed. In June 2019, the Supreme Court announced they will hear the Trump administration's appeal of the 3 cases. Like mentioned before, these cases were heard this week. In addition, a decision is not expected until early 2020. That's all I have for now. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Paola. And I have to say, the weather has been very fall-like and chilly for Florida.
I've noticed that too. Sarah Nagy is here to tell us what it looks like outside. Sarah?
Thanks, Chris and Maneta. It's extremely gloomy outside today, so not the best day for any outdoor activities. And don't forget to bring your umbrella and rain jacket if you do have to spend some time outside. But for now, let's take a look at our current conditions. Currently, it's 70 degrees and the humidity is at 84%. The winds are coming from the north at about 9 miles per hour, and the chance of rain is at 70%. So again, do not forget your umbrellas or else you might be rained on. But I hope it clears up for this weekend, and I'll keep you updated for our 5-day forecast. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Sarah. Coming up on Nightly News, find out the latest on the UCF presidential search.
Plus, see how UCF and FDOT are working to make an important road safer for pedestrians. All this and more after the break.
tap.
Chris, do it again. Yeah, I see it now. I think it's because the mic wasn't all the way plugged in.
I'm pulling the other brake. All right, 8, 7.
The UCF Board of Trustees met for their last time this year at the Fairwinds Alumni Center on Thursday. A report about a new proposed master degree under the Themed Experience program was a key topic. Nightly News reporter Milan Martinez takes us through the meeting.
During their meeting on Thursday, the Board of Trustees discussed a proposed Masters of Science degree in the Themed Experience program. The Dean of the College of Arts and Humanities, Jeff Moore, was one of the presenters for the new degree. He says the Themed Experience is a program of their Masters of Fine Arts and Theater degree. They're working on a proposal for a new Masters of Science in Themed Experience that would incorporate more disciplines at UCF.
So this is an inter-college sort of degree program that would encompass the College of Engineering and Computer Science and College of Hospitality Management, along with the College of Arts and Humanities, and all of the schools within and departments within the College of Arts and Humanities.
Dean Moore says the Themed Experience is an obvious connector to help accomplish the board's goal of what UCF should be known for locally and what we should be recognized for nationally. UCF interim president Thad Seymour Jr. seemed excited about the program. He says the program embraces what Orlando is all about.
What I love about it is it really embraces what our region is about and connects that to areas of expertise for the university in an interdisciplinary way. And as we keep saying, we should own this as UCF.
Seymour says UCF will be leading the whole world through the creation of programs like these. In Orlando, Milan Martinez, UCF Nightly News.
The Board of Trustees also spoke about changing the UCF Transportation Company and professors' tenure. For more information on the recent Board of Trustees meeting, the agenda can be found at bot.ucf.edu.
The search firm Storeback Pineda and Associates has just been selected to help find UCF its next president. Search Committee Chair Beverly Shea made this decision at the special Board of Trustees meeting on November 6th. 5 different search firms gave presentations showing off their qualifications, but Storeback beat them out. UCF's next president is expected to be chosen in spring of 2020.
Coming up after the break, get a look at what the weather will look like this weekend.
Plus, line bikes are gone. Are scooters the next step for UCF?
Florida. We have been keeping a close eye on our astronaut spacewalk this morning. A difficult series of spacewalks have begun to fix a cosmic ray detector at the International Space Station. Italian astronaut Luca Partimino and U.S. astronaut Andrew Morgan used many tools and 4 new pumps.
The alpha magnetic spectrometer took 2 hours to get all the material removed and repaired. NASA expects the venture back to space at least 4 times this month to revitalize the instrument.
UCF did away with Lime bikes over the summer, but students will soon have a new form of transportation. UCF student government plans to announce the launch of electric scooters to campus on November 21st. The announcement comes just before the end of the fall semester. The safety meeting will follow right after the new scooters announcement on the 22nd of November. Student Body Vice President Madeline Mills says the scooter safety media event will allow the company to explain how their scooters are safe and their philosophy on the safety. The event will also give students the opportunity to test the scooters before the actual launch on campus. Today we're celebrating National Recycling Day. This nationally recognized day strives to spread the word on the benefits of recycling. A Maplecroft study has found that the U.S. represents 4% of the world's population, yet produces 12% of global municipal solid waste.
As for now, UCF is getting involved. The university strives to promote recycling by aiming to become a zero-waste campus. To get involved in a recycling initiative, you can visit stability.ucf.edu. November is Veterans History Month, and UCF is doing its part to celebrate our fallen soldiers and those currently serving. The Veterans Academic Resource Center at UCF put up around 1,350 flags in the Memory Mall to represent the student veterans currently studying at the university. UCF holds events all month long in celebration and remembrance of those who have served our country. Some of these celebrations include a flag-raising ceremony, the Central Florida Yellow Ribbon Project, and Veterans Night at Light Up UCF. GI Jobs magazine ranks UCF one of the nation's most military-friendly universities. Men's soccer looks to avenge last year's conference championship loss to SMU.
Stay tuned after the break.
Hi guys, we're going to take a look at our current Florida highs. Okay, so in Tallahassee, it's a really chilly 53 degrees, and in Jacksonville, it's another chilly 63 degrees, and in Tampa, it's a 74. Here in Orlando, it is 75 degrees. Miami, it's a steamy 82 degrees. I'm sorry. Now for our lows. Okay, in Tallahassee, it's another chilly temperature. It's 46 degrees. In Jacksonville, it's 49 degrees. Here in Orlando, 55 degrees. So bring your jackets wherever you go. In Tampa, it's 58 degrees. And in Miami, it's 67 degrees. Now for our 5-day forecast. Okay, on Saturday, we're expecting to see a chilly day, but sunny. It's going to be a high of 67 degrees and a low of 49 degrees and no rain, thank God. On Sunday, it's going to be a high of 67 degrees and a low of 50 degrees and no rain again. And on Monday, it's going to be partly cloudy with a 71-degree high and a 53-degree low with a 20% chance of rain. And on Tuesday, it's going to be 71 degrees as the high and 52 degrees as the low, and 20% chance of rain. And on Wednesday, we can expect to see a 72-degree high and a 53-degree low. No rain. Back to you guys.
Men's soccer looks to avenge last year's conference loss against SMU.
And we'll have more on that after the break.
Welcome back, Knights fans. I'm Milan Martinez, and here's your UCF sports update. So the UCF men's soccer team is just one win away from the ACC championship. SMU is the only team in their way. The Knights and the Mustangs will clash in a top 12 matchup. This is a rematch from last year's AAC championship, which the Mustangs won in penalty kicks. Forward Cal Jennings is coming off probably his best game of the season. He had his first hat trick of the season on Wednesday, and head coach Scott Calabrese called their 5-0 win over Temple the best performance of the season.
Especially from a concentration, competition, effort standpoint, and I think with that as the foundation, then we're able to do the things that we want to do.
The Knights will look to avenge last year's defeat in the championship tomorrow night. The game is set for 7 p.m. And right now, Nightly News reporter Kyle Partain joins us to break down UCF's champion match against SMU. So break it down for us, Kyle. Let's start off with SMU. What can we expect from the Mustangs on Saturday?
Well, SMU is a very balanced team, and they bring a two-headed monster in their offense. 2 of their players have scored 10 or more goals, which is far more than UCF can say. UCF only has Cal Jennings over 10 goals with 16. SMU also has a very solid defense. They've given up the fewest goals of any team per game in the conference, and also scores the most goals per game of any conference. So it's going to be a real tall task for UCF.
Yeah, wow. UCF is favored to win the game on Saturday. So how does the UCF matchup against SMU look?
You know, it's going to be pretty interesting. Again, Cal Jennings, he's the only one to score more than 10 goals for UCF. He's got 16, and the rest of the team has just 25 goals. So it's going to be really important for the Knights to not just rely on Cal. Other than that, UCF's defense are going to have to hold the line, and it should be a very fun offensive matchup to watch.
Well, yeah, I figured. So that means that these teams are no strangers to each other either. The two played each other earlier in the season. It was a 3-3 tie, if I'm not mistaken. So how much have these teams changed since that tie game?
You know, SMU hasn't changed that much. UCF finally starting to look like the juggernaut that their RPI shows. UCF sitting at an RPI of 3 in the country, and they finally showed that they can finish games. When they played Temple in the semifinals, winning 5-0, including Cal Jennings with the hat trick. His 4th in his career, just the first of this season. So it's going to be really important for UCF to not let up like they did in Dallas when they were leading 3-1 in the 71st minute. It's going to be really important for UCF to be able to finish this one.
Exactly. So the most important question for the Knights now should be, how can they win the game? Kyle, what do you think UCF needs to do this one?
Well, there's a lot of things. First and foremost, they're going to have to make sure Cal Jennings is not the only offensive weapon for them. USF did a great job of spreading the ball, sharing the ball, and SMU struggled to prevent that. So now it's going to be really important for Cal Jennings to not be the only scoring weapon for UCF. Also, they're going to have to take advantage of their clean possessions and clean shots. They cannot allow for just quick, really not good shots. They'll take a bunch of shots, but they have to be good shots. And it's going to be really important to not allow that ball to get past the back line. UCF likes to press. And most importantly, we've talked about this already, finish, finish, finish. There have been times in this season where UCF hasn't been able to finish the game, and they've let teams get back into it. So now it's going to be really important to see if UCF is able to finish like they did against Temple in that 5-0 win.
All right, and that's all the time we have for sports. Back to Chris and Mineta at the desk.
That's all our time for right now. Thanks for joining us. You can always keep up with us during the week on Instagram at UCF Nightly News.
And if you got a story idea you want to tell us about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews@ucf.edu. Thanks for watching and have a good day.
Coming up on UCF Nightly News.
We'll learn about Pete Davidson's return to Orlando.
And find out all you need to know about the latest in President Trump's impeachment.
And in sports, find out where the Knights basketball teams will be playing this weekend.
Nightly News starts now. Good afternoon and welcome to Nightly News. I'm Milan Martinez.
And I'm Caitlin Pickens. Today is Friday, November 15th, 2019. A UCF student is one of 17 people recently arrested for possessing or sharing child pornography. Police say 19-year-old Dominic Bernardi was messaging a 13-year-old girl through Snapchat. They say he was sending her nude pictures of himself and pressuring her for pictures, even though he knew her age. Bernardi was a brother of UCF's Pi Kappa Phi fraternity. But the chapter president says he is not currently recognized as a member. Pi Kap's Assistant Director of Communications, Victor Tran, gave Nightly News a statement stating, "We find this behavior, if true, deplorable. He has been placed on interim suspension pending formal conduct proceedings under our conduct code." According to a release from Polk County Sheriff's Office, Bernardi is charged with using a computer to solicit a child and transmitting material harmful to a minor.
An update on a story Nightly News has been following. 5-year-old Taylor Williams was reported missing last week from Jacksonville. On Tuesday, her mother, Brianna Williams, was booked after human remains were found in Alabama in search for the child.
She was arrested on charges of child neglect and giving false information to investigators. Williams had to be flown from Naval Air Station to Jacksonville UF Health Hospital to be treated for an overdose.
She was reportedly in serious condition. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office is still waiting on a positive identification of the remains, as no other suspects have been charged in Taylor's disappearance.
This past weekend, hundreds of phones were reported as stolen at the Electric Daisy Carnival. On Sunday night, Carlos Perez Hernandez was arrested after police found over 106 phones in his vehicle. The police recovered the phones, but only some victims were able to get their phone back. Many posts have been going around on social media about the incidents, including one festival goer finding dozens of phone cases in a porta potty where the thief had left them. The Orlando Police Department says EDC now has control over all of the phones recovered. You can file them missing online at electricdaisfestival.com. It is also encouraged to file a police report.
This week, students across UCF got several alerts sent to their phones about an incident on main campus. The alerts read that UCF PD is responding to a burglary in the area of the Hotel Construction Yard and Links Transit Station. They told students to avoid the area until the situation is under control. The next text stated that they had one person in custody, but suspects were still on the loose. Descriptions of the suspects were provided, and if seen, encouraged to call 911. As of now, both suspects are in custody and all activity is back to normal. If you ever see anything suspicious, call UCF PD or 911 immediately.
Two popular comedians are making their way back to Orlando next month.
Some UCF students might remember an infamous performance earlier this year from one of the two.
Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson is coming back to Orlando, and he is bringing a friend this time. Comedian John Mulaney will be by his side performing at the Dr. Phillips Center downtown Orlando. A news release says no cell phones are allowed during this comedy show. Davidson yelled and cursed at the crowd at UCF students last time he was in town for using their cell phones during the show. One UCF student that went to a show thinks if Davidson is returning, then he must not feel bad about what went down last time.
I think he acknowledges he did something, but I think that he doesn't care. I think that the whole 10-minute Q&A because he felt bad was an excuse.
The comedy show date is set for December 8th at 8 p.m. at the Bob Carter Theater. Tickets will be on sale today for $49.
This week, Trump's impeachment hearings have begun.
Nightly News reporter Sarah Nagy is in the studio to tell us more about what exactly has been going on this week.
Thanks, Caitlin and Milan. Trump's impeachment hearings began on Tuesday. Here is everything we know thus far. Some new evidence has been presented against President Trump is that U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, Bill Taylor, told lawmakers about another conversation when Trump had voiced that he wanted the Ukrainians to announce the investigations. This has some people wondering if he wanted to help his 2020 campaign.
I know nothing about that. First time I've heard it. The one thing I've seen that sounds...
Asking Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate some of the prominent Democrats, specifically the Bidens. This information came to light because of an undisclosed whistleblower who wrote a letter explaining their concern. Bill Taylor, a top U.S. diplomat in Ukraine, testified that Trump and his administration said he had a, quote, clear understanding that military aid would be withheld had Ukraine not investigated the Bidens. The Republicans are countering the accusations as hearsay. This is a central part of their argument, saying the information was not first-hand evidence. Democrats believe the GOP is leaning into conspiracy theories after the top Republican California Representative Devin Nunes discussed theories that have been debunked by several witnesses. The hearings are set to continue and to go into next week. Nightly News will keep you updated with this developing story. And now that's all we have so far. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Caitlin. Thanks so much, Sarah. You know, Caitlin, I've been finally starting to feel that cool weather. I'm very excited.
I am too. This is the first time in a long time that I grabbed my jacket before coming to school this morning.
I know, finally.
We do have Jayla in the studio to tell us about the weather today. Jayla, how's it going?
Yes, we are definitely starting to feel those cool temperatures. I know a lot of people are very excited. Let's take a look at our current conditions here. As you can tell right now, we're at 70 degrees outside, so very nice. Humidity, we're at 84%. And then if we look at our winds, they're going north at 9 miles per hour. Head over to our chance of rain, it's 70%. So make sure you grab an umbrella and keep it on hand all day. Back to you all at the desk.
Take a look deeper into this upcoming week's weather.
Coming up, find out about an elite program that 2 UCF students were just selected for.
What the heck?
Plus, find out how men can check up on their health during the month of November.
2 UCF medical students were selected for a national fellowship program that focuses on the topics of poverty, mental health, and substance abuse. The fellowship is Yale University's recognizing and eliminating disparities in addiction through culturally informed healthcare. And UCF med students Matthew Abrams and Courtney Bell were among 2 out of the only 3 medical students chosen across the nation. The program is led by the American Academy of Addiction Psychiatry, and their aim is to train more physicians to be familiar with treating marginalized patients who suffer from mental health and substance abuse issues.
This week, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg was absent in court for her oral arguments due to a stomach virus.
Out of Ginsburg's many years on the Supreme Court, she has only missed a handful of oral arguments. The 86-year-old was absent in January after surgery to remove cancerous nodules from her lung.
Ginsburg is a 4-time cancer survivor, and although there have been no further updates on her condition right now, the court date was rescheduled.
November is National Epilepsy Awareness Month. According to epilepsy.com, over a lifetime, 1 in 10 people have a seizure and 1 in 26 will develop epilepsy. The website explains how you can help someone when they are having a seizure. Move the person to their side, put something soft under their head, and do not block their airway. Disney star Cameron Boyce recently passed at the age of 20 due to complications from epilepsy. His parents started the Cameron Boyce Foundation promoting epilepsy awareness and destigmatization of the illness. For more information, visit the CameronBoyceFoundation.org. So, Caitlin, do you know what National November is?
I have no idea, but I do know that some guys participate in the No Shave November trend.
Exactly. So there's a lot more to this month that doesn't get talked about as much.
Eddie Messel is right here in the studio to explain what this month means for men and for their health.
Thank you, ladies. So I'm sure many of you have heard of Movember and hashtag No Shave November. Well, today I'm here to tell you and teach about the causes behind these trending topics. Now, while both events happen every November from the 1st of the month to the 30th, Movember had an interesting start. Movember started in Australia in 2003 by 2 friends who met up for a beer. They started with 30 men who were willing to take on the challenge of bringing back the mustache, but unfortunately didn't raise any money that year that they started. In 2007, they officially launched in the U.S. in partnership with Prostate Cancer Foundation, in Canada with Prostate Cancer in Canada, and in the UK with the Prostate Cancer Charity, and in Spain with the FEFROC. 10 years later, they have over 20 countries participating in Movember, plus they have 5,542 supporters who they will call Mo Bros and Mo Misters. Now, the goal for both movements is to raise awareness about men's health. Both promote growing out your hair for cancer patients who have lost their hair during their battle. These causes aim to raise awareness and funds for prostate cancer, which globally 9 million men are living with. Also, testicular cancer, which is the most common cancer among men aged 15 to 39. Movember also raises awareness for men's mental health and suicide, which on average, 1 man dies by suicide every minute. So here are the rules of No Shave November. Put down your razor for 30 days, grow a beard, twirl that mustache a little bit, just let your hair do its thing. Participate in any kind is encouraged. So if you need to do a little bit of trimming and some grooming, don't sweat it. Lastly, Movember and No Shave Movember encourage you to donate your monthly hair maintenance expenses to these causes. For more information or to make a donation, visit their websites no-shave.org and at us.movember.com. Now back to you, ladies.
Coming up, we'll take a look into where some of your favorite Knights players are now.
Plus, find out what this weekend's weather is going to look like. According to an email sent out October 25th, UCF Postal Services has been having mail delivery problems. Over this past year, 65% of inbound mail was addressed incorrectly. That includes delivery services like USPS, Amazon, and FedEx. Campus News says that UCF Postal Services delivers mail to more than 12,000 employees and more than 8,000 students. The incorrect mail addresses causes delays and the likelihood of missing mail. Campus News wants employees and students to use their own P.O. box and zip codes to ensure quick and accurate mail delivery services. For more information on this, you can email postalservices.ucf.edu.
The UCF presidential search continues. After just announcing the search committee, UCF is now beginning a series of listening sessions and open forums beginning next week. These sessions and forums will focus on what the UCF community is hoping to see from the next UCF president. The Presidential Search Committee is set to meet on Wednesday, November 20th from 8:30 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. at the Mordred International Reading Center. It's open to the public. Some of the sessions will target groups like the Faculty Senate and the USPS Staff Council. For more information on the search, you can visit ucf.edu/presidential search. It is finally time to see how this cool weather will be treating us this weekend.
I know, I'm so excited. So let's see what Jayla has for this week's weather.
Yes, I'm also super excited for this weekend, planning on spending some time outside and soaking it all in. Now, let's take a look at what it's looking like outside today. Now, if we check out Memory Mall, we can see that it is pretty overcast and muggy outside, and it's looking pretty nice, so there's a lot of people roaming around campus. But let's go ahead and take a look at our state highs. Here up in Tallahassee, they're at 53 degrees. In Jacksonville, it's a nice 63. Coming down to Tampa, we're at 74 degrees, and in Orlando, we have a nice 75. Down in Miami, they are going to experience a warm, sunny 82 degrees today. Now, let's take a look at our state lows. Up in Tallahassee, it's going to be pretty chilly at 46 degrees. Moving over to Jacksonville, they're only at 49, so just a little bit warmer, but still very cold. Coming down to Orlando, we have a nice 55, so definitely bring your jackets out if you plan to go out, spend your Friday night out. Moving over to Tampa, we're at 58 degrees, and down in Miami, still a bit warmer, but a nice 67 degrees. Now, let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Okay, so on Saturday, we are at 67 degrees for the high and 49 degrees for our low. If we move, we have a 0% chance of rain. On Sunday, we have a 67 high and a 50 low with a 0% chance of rain. Moving over to Monday and Tuesday, we're both at a high of 71 and lows of 53 and 52 and 20% chances of rain, so not too bad. Wednesday, we're at a high of 72 with a low of 53. Now back to you all at the desk.
Nightly news reporter Chris Rolfe will break down the former UCF players that are thriving right now in the NFL this season.
And plus, find out how both Knights basketball teams started off their seasons.
Good afternoon, Knights fans. I'm Carolina Tucito, and this is your UCF Nightly News Sports Update. The Knights men's basketball team is looking to bounce back after their first loss of the season. While UCF lost to Miami Tuesday night, the team gets a shot at redemption as they travel to the Midwest to face the Illinois State Redbirds this Sunday. UCF and Illinois State have some history with one another. This weekend's meeting will be the third game between the two teams since 2016. Head coach Johnny Dawkins is looking forward to the team's first road test.
We're going to be in a hostile environment for sure. I was in that environment about 2 or 3 years ago, and it was incredible. And I don't expect anything short of that again this year. It's going to be an amazing environment, and our guys are going to need to be prepared physically and mentally for it.
The Knights came out victorious against the Redbirds in 2017 NIT tournament and last season in non-conference play. Tip-off is at 2 p.m. Sunday. The Knights women's basketball team is also preparing for a road contest this weekend. UCF is heading to East Texas to face Stephen F. Austin this Saturday. This is the third game in the Knights' early season 3-game road trip. Last Saturday, the Knights began the road trip on the wrong foot with a loss to Belmont and continued to spiral in the wrong direction with a loss Wednesday to Florida Gulf Coast. The Knights now have a chance to rebound and end their road trip on a high note against the Lady Jacks. Tip-off is at 4 p.m. Saturday. And now Nightly News reporter Chris Wolf is here to break down some former UCF football players that are currently thriving in the NFL. Great to have you here, Chris. What do you have for us?
I'm going to break down 3 former UCF players that are thriving right now in the NFL and that made huge impacts for their team. And the players this season that we're going to be looking at, Shaquille Griffin from the Seattle Seahawks. He has been having a great season so far. He's had 48 tackles, and just last game on Monday night, he had a big pass deflection in overtime that made the 49ers punt, and it set up a game-winning field goal for them, and the Seahawks won. He's also had 12 pass deflections. That is one of the top 3. That's the one top 3 in the league. He's having a great season. And what about you, Carolina?
I agree with you on that. And there's another player that stood out, and his name is Latavius Murray. Chris, how important is he to the New Orleans Saints?
He's had a great season so far. He had to fill in for all-pro running back Alvin Kamara, and he had, in the last 3 games, he's had over 100 yards rushing. And he also had a 6-reception game, over 370 rushing yards this season. And he's had a great season for them as a backup running back. He's one of the best in the league. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that was a key part to the Saints' success despite being without one of their best offensive weapons. Jordan Atkins is another one that I want to talk about. Chris, what has he done for the Texans this season that has stood out to you?
He's had a really good season for them. He leads the team in receiving for all tight ends they've had. He's had 248 receiving yards. He has 2 touchdowns. And one of his biggest games of his career, it came against the LA Chargers. He had 3 catches, 73 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and it was a great season for him. And he's played in 9 games this season. He's got 20 catches, which is 4th on the team right now, and he's had a great season.
Definitely. Well, thanks so much for being here, Chris. That's all the time for right now. Back to Caitlin and Milan.
That's all right. That's our time for right now, and thanks so much for joining us. You can always keep up with us during the week on our website, nightlynews.ucf.edu.
And if you got a story idea you want us to know about, send it our way. You can reach us at nightlynews@ucf.edu. Thanks for watching and have a great day.